Well, hello. I don't know about you, but I have been obsessed with Michael Jackson lately, and I've been watching a lot of documentaries about him. You should really check them out. There are some good ones. One I just watched today was Michael Jackson in the Search for Neverland, which was more of a movie based on the story from the bodyguards that he worked with. And there was another documentary on Gloved, which had to do with people who called themselves Michael Jackson's friends. So I really needed to dig a little deeper here, and I wanted to bring up his natal chart. So I'm going to share that with you today and share some of the things that I found with you. So I am using Hellenistic tropical whole sign houses. And this is not AI generated. I am using Nachespo, which is a new software for astrologers that I am currently testing out. And let me tell you a little bit about what I found regarding Michael Jackson. So this is his natal chart. And as you can see, he is an Aries rising. He has Aries in the first house, and Aries is ruled by Mars. So something interesting, usually people with Aries in the first house tend to be fit, athletic, very driven. We know Michael Jackson was a very driven person. However, here, as I said, Aries is ruled by Mars. Mars happens to be in the second house, which is Taurus, and Mars is not happy in the house of Taurus. He's actually in his detriment, which means those Mars characteristics that we usually see in Aries are going to be a little sick, a little stifling. Okay, when you think of Mars, you think of cutting things, being a warrior, severing things. And now here he has it in his first house, which is all about appearances and how you're portrayed. And we all know Michael Jackson underwent a lot of cosmetic surgery. In fact, he was not happy with his appearance at all and kept working to try to fix that. And back in the day, you remember Michael Jackson wore a lot of masks. He did not want people to see him. He did not want people to comment on his appearance. And now I kind of know from watching the documentaries and digging into his astrology. All right. So that explains the first house. We have Mercury and Pluto here. You see that in the fifth and sixth house. And they're highlighted here. That's because they are under the sun's beams at the time of Michael Jackson's birth, which means it can also kind of weaken what these planets mean. Mercury is all about communication. Pluto is all about heavy change, death, rebirth, all of that. So both of these together under the beams of the sun, we're looking in the fifth house where Mercury is. Fifth house has to do with things that you do for fun. It has to do with children. We know Michael Jackson loved children very much. And then we have Pluto here in the sixth house of work. Okay, so let's put those things together. So Mercury and Pluto together can signify misunderstanding, misrepresentation in work and in play. And that's exactly what happened to Michael Jackson. All of the things that you can watch from the people that really knew him, he never got to have a childhood, so he never wanted to grow up. Hence the name of his family home, Neverland, right? If you watched Peter Pan, right, it's all about Peter Pan not growing up. Michael Jackson did not want to grow up. And it wasn't that he hurt children, he adored children and he appreciated the energy of children. In fact, he said that he loved being around children because they helped him really tap into his creativity. And that is the fifth house. Like, that's amazing. Fifth house is all about creativity, it's all about children. And he's got Mercury, Venus, and Uranus there, all in his fifth house. So that's why we've got some of this misunderstanding and misrepresentation. Okay, he's got his fourth house is family, and he's got Cancer there. Cancer is the nurturing, the mother sign. We know that Michael Jackson was a nurturer. He cared so much for his children. Anyone that knew him knew what a great father he was. So he loved children, he loved his family, and Cancer is ruled by the moon, which is in that 12th house, indicating solitude, needing alone time. So he did, his family couldn't really go out in public at all. So that family life was kept very private. Let's see. He loved his family, loved his children. The fifth house, I said, represents children with Uranus. Uranus there can mean unexpected news and misunderstanding. And that very much, in fact, happened to Michael Jackson. People didn't understand why he wanted to be with children all of the time. And, they wanted money out of him. People used him, but he was a very charitable person and he did a lot for other people. He donated so much of his money to charities. Now, Aries rising people are usually seen as confident people, which, if you ever saw Michael Jackson perform, he was amazing, right? People said that his shows were the best shows. He was known as being the king of pop. So, his outside view, first house, how people see you, he is seen as being a very confident person, but he has his sun in Virgo. Virgo is like the opposite of that. So he's got this conflict throughout his life of outside being confident, and internally he was just very worried about, he was being a perfectionist. He probably had a little bit of OCD as well because everything had to be perfect. All of his shows, his dance moves, if you ever watched him dance, like everything was so to the point. There was so much precision to his moves. But with this Aries rising and Virgo sun, there's a lot of misunderstanding there. People don't know that he's just soft and mushy inside, even though he has this hard, strong persona. Okay, he's got Sun in his fifth house, which is ruled by Leo. Again, that has to do with creativity, children, and self expression. And he said in some of his documentaries that his energy being around children helped him write songs. That's when he felt the most creative. And the destiny of having the sun in the fifth house, or I'm sorry, sun in the sixth house of work, is not to work hard, but to bring that heart, creativity, and individuality to that work, which is what Michael Jackson did. He was so different from most people of his time. And unfortunately, people shunned him because he was so different. He shined when he was performing and inspiring others, and that's what the sun in the sixth house can do. Now, I did mention this moon in the 12th house, which is in Pisces. This alludes to a deeply emotional, sensitive, and misunderstood person they just don't see the real you. And that seems to be something that happened with Michael Jackson. People didn't really know who he was. They only saw him on the outside. They only saw what was in the news, and he had to have this wall put up around him. Now, something else very interesting, I decided to look to see if he had any fixed stars, and get this, he does. So I included them in the chart on his ascendant in Aries. You can see over here, he's got this fixed star, Difta, and this alludes to a highly striking, dynamic personality. A revolutionary activist, uniquely wired to use personal power to protect the vulnerable. Sorry about that. That's who Michael Jackson was. And there it is right there in his first house. When we're talking about personality, it's right there. It's pretty close to his ascendant. It's at 2 degrees. His ascendant is at 6 degrees. So we know Michael Jackson donated a lot of money to charities. He wanted to protect the children. We know that he had a terrible upbringing as a young child. We know that his father was very harsh to him. Um, and Michael wanted to work to protect other children and protect the people that couldn't protect themselves. He donated so much money to help the children. He donated so much money to help cancer, so many people around the world. And I want you check and see if this Dipta star is in your chart. It's 2 degrees Aries. That'd be interesting to know. Give me some feedback. Now, I also wanted to learn a little bit more like what's going on with his career. So if you can see here, 10th house, he's got his MC, and then he has this other fixed star, Polis, right within 1 degree of his MC, and I'll get to that in a minute. But we're also trining Pluto here in the 6th house. 6th house work, trining this in the 10th house career and how people see you. So again, Pluto, death, rebirth, power. Michael Jackson constantly had that. He kept shedding his skin, right? He was the young performer in the Jackson 5. As he grew, he evolved his appearance. He kept evolving as time went on. So let me tell you about Polis here. This is going to knock your socks off, people. So it is in the 10th house. Polis, especially when combined with your MC, has to do with high ambition, leadership, success, a highly visible and impactful career, goals with extreme precision. And like I said, this is trining the 6th house Pluto, which can lead to an exhausting work environment. We know in the end, Michael Jackson was exhausted. He was losing money from all of these lawsuits that came after him. He didn't feel like he had the energy to do shows. They wanted him to do Vegas shows. He just wanted to be with his children and rest. He wasn't getting any sleep. He was on different meds. All of this leading to cardiac arrest when he died. All right, so that is what I've learned about Michael Jackson, and I hope you enjoyed this. I encourage you, check out these documentaries. They're pretty interesting, but like I said, I was drawn to really dig deep into his chart, and I'm sure there's so much more that I didn't even touch upon. So thank you for listening, and let me know if you want me to dive into another celebrity.